Autodesk Industry Collections is Autodesk's bundled subscription offering. In contrast to the 20-plus Autodesk Design and Creation Suites, there are only 3 Autodesk Industry Collections, and that's the Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection, the Media and Entertainment Collection, and the Product Design Collection. These industry collections provide access to multiple Autodesk products and services and offer greater value and flexibility with simpler ways to subscribe to and manage your Autodesk software. So what is included in an industry collection? Autodesk added a number of products earlier this month, and they're highlighted on this slide. So as of this presentation, this list is current. At the bottom, you'll notice that I added the Product Design and Creation Suites, whose products are comprised within each of these industry collections. The exception being that Autodesk Inventor, which was included in Building Design Suite Ultimate, is not included in an AEC industry collection, but is included in an Autodesk Product Design collection. Just something to point out. So Autodesk Inventor is still available to subscribe to as a point product, as well as to subscribe to in an Autodesk Product Design collection, but it is not currently in an Autodesk Architecture, Engineering, and Construction collection. But as you can see, there's a multitude of products as well as cloud services that are in each of these product offerings. So while you're able to subscribe to an Autodesk Industry Collection outright, for those of you needing a new license, for those with existing Autodesk software, let's go through your options. So for customers who subscribe to annual or multi-year subscriptions for suites or individual products, you are able to switch to an industry collection midterm. Autodesk has not established an end date for this option, so it is ongoing. So if you have a premium or an ultimate suite that you're subscribing to, you will be able to switch to a collection at no additional cost for the remainder of the current subscription term. All other customers with, let's say, Autodesk point product subscriptions will only pay the approximate price difference between the 2 subscriptions, prorated for the time remaining in the subscription term. Now, for monthly or quarterly term subscriptions for Autodesk suites or Autodesk individual products, there's currently no option to switch. It just seems to be too short a term. So you can subscribe to an Autodesk Industry Collection either in addition to that monthly or quarterly term, or you can wait until that term expires and then subscribe. Now, for Autodesk perpetual licenses with an active Autodesk maintenance plan, the majority of Autodesk perpetual licenses that are on an active maintenance plan now have the option to switch during renewal time to an Autodesk Industry Collection or subscription product. So this is something that's still relatively new. If you have perpetual licenses that you have been keeping on active maintenance plans, when your renewal date is approaching, you will be able to consider options to moving to subscriptions of Autodesk Industry Collections. And for Autodesk older versions of perpetual licenses without an active Autodesk maintenance plan, now through October 20th, as I mentioned during the promotion earlier, you can trade in your old licenses and save up to 30% on a 1 or 3 year term subscription to an Autodesk Industry Collection. So that's now through October 20th. Now, to receive an Autodesk Industry Collection, I just want to point out that it's as simple as subscribing to any Autodesk product. You select the product you'd like, whether it be a point product or one of the 3 industry collections. You decide on your access type, whether it be single user access or multi-user access, and then you choose the term length, whether it be monthly, quarterly, annually, or multi-year. It's important to point out that for multi-user access, That option becomes available with term lengths starting at annual. And tying into that, in closing, I just wanted to share this chart that I feel will aid in your purchasing considerations between Autodesk Industry Collection subscriptions or individual product offerings, as well as between single user versus multi-user access types based on your particular needs. If you are wondering if an industry collection is a good fit for you, it is a good fit for any customer who is in the AEC, media and entertainment, and manufacturing industries who currently use Autodesk Design and Creation Suites. It's a great fit for any customer who wants the option to use multiple Autodesk products and services. If you value flexibility that monthly, quarterly, annual, and multi-year terms provide, that is in the subscription software, including Autodesk Industry Collections. And if you value the flexibility to use specific software, to subscribe to the specific software for project-related work and have various term length options so you have the ability to scale up and down as your business needs dictates, this is the product offering for you, a subscription of Autodesk Industry Collection. And Autodesk subscriptions that include Industry Collections for multi-year terms receive a locked-in rate. So if you're looking for the cost savings of it, if you lock in a multi-year term for a subscription, you will be locking in that rate for the entirety of that term. So with that, I just would like to continue by passing it on to my colleague, BIM and 3D printing specialist here at Microsol Resources, Roger Liucci, who will be presenting the remainder of today's webinar. And a reminder to please feel free to type in your questions into the chat box, and we will answer them during the presentation or during the Q&A portion immediately following. So thank you for your time, and Roger, all yours.
Thank you, Rowena. Obviously, you know a lot about what's going on, so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Rowena. We've spent a lot of time preparing this presentation, and we can answer any of your questions. So as Ro mentioned, I'm one of the BIM specialists here at Microsol Resources. I'm also heading up the 3D printing department. So basically, if you have any questions about anything in the collections or anything related to Revit or BIM or visualization or 3D printing, please give me a call. Don't hesitate. So as Ro mentioned, we're going to tell you all about the industry collections, and we're going to basically highlight all of the great products that one can get subscribing to the collection. So let's take a look at what we have here today. So as Ro already mentioned, here are the three collections. It's a little bit simpler than the previous, building design suites. But basically, it's all focused on providing these benefits to various people in the firm. Let's start talking about the executives. It's a little bit easier for them to manage, what kind of products they're purchasing for the staff, and being able to distribute those packages. It's going to be a lot easier to work forward, to purchase and to understand what products you are using in your office. It's a little bit easier to manage the operational costs more effectively. I think it's much more simpler to look at the differences between the suites and the collections. Obviously, as Ro mentioned, 20 plus collection suites, only updated annually. Now we're talking about 3 specific industry collections, and those updates happen all the time. Meaning, as soon as there's a product that would assist the architecture, engineering, construction group, then it's going to be updated automatically, and instantaneously you're going to be able to have access. When the changes happen, again, they're instant and they're easily managed. We're going to take a look at the Autodesk site, manage.autodesk.com, to take a look. But basically, you're also going to be able to, on the higher up the management side, get a better understanding of what's going on. Now, obviously, for the IT managers, it's going to be easy as well, meaning that it's a more streamlined access. You don't have to download an entire, giant mega download. In previous examples, the design of the Building Design Suite Premium, for instance, was a huge download. And if one user only needed, you know, 1 or 2 products from that suite, it was still required to download the entire package. Now you're going to be able to download products individually, or simply give access to the individuals who will be able to go to their desktop app and say, yeah, that's that product I need, bang, I'll be able to install it, not needing serial numbers or product keys because it's already been allocated to those individuals. It's also easy to maintain license compliance. It's a lot easier for the managers to, you know, to get an idea of what products are available to their staff and who's using what. As Ro mentioned, there's different ways of accessing the products, single user access, multi-user access. So you can still have a pool of licenses, but it also is available, meaning I can assign it to an individual person, and that person will always have access to that product, no matter who's in the office and who's working on what. So it's just a different way of looking at things. It's the same serial number for the entire collection, and only one would need the unique product key. And of course, every year we update our product key list on the blog, blog.microsolresources.com, so it's very easy to find the information. When a license is allocated to an individual, they'll see those products on their manage.autodesk.com site as well. So it definitely does get confusing when, you know, you're managing licenses for a large firm, and you want to make sure that you understand, you know, who's consuming the licenses. But you'll see that these licenses are easy to manage and easy to borrow and easy to assign. But basically, individual products using the collection is a little bit different, right? Meaning that when I go and use a particular product, I don't have to worry about what version I'm using or what product I'm using. I'm going to talk to that in a moment. But if you have any questions about how the licensing works, we have created some recent blogs on these topics, essentially trying to understand what happens when an individual might open AutoCAD 2017 or Revit 2018. So unlike the suites, the collections are going to allow you to use whatever product you want, whatever version you want, and it still only consumes 1 license. So that's one of the big benefits. But, you know, if I click on one of these blog links, you'll see that it'll take me to the blog, and we can start talking about how these suites work and how the licenses are going to be consumed. So you can see here's the differences. John Semmel, the director of IT, has put together some beautiful blogs about how these products are managed, and just to get a better understanding before you go ahead and implement these tools, you want to understand how individual license will be used. Again, if you have any questions, support@microsolresources.com. So now let's get into the AEC collection. Obviously one of my favorites, as I'm a big BIM guy, studied architecture, and, you know, love using Revit and all the related tools and the workflows going from Revit to visualization applications. So, you know, obviously this is going to be great for all the architects and engineers in the, you know, in the webinar today, anybody in attendance. You're also going to have infrastructure tools right at your fingertips. So not only are you going to be able to create the buildings, but you're going to be able to put the buildings within context. And it's just fantastic to be able to see something like, you know, the infrastructure design tools right there. So I can literally link in a Revit model and visualize it in something like this image over on the right. If anybody hasn't gotten a look at some of these infrastructure tools, it's really going to blow you away. You can even do traffic simulation, things like that. So let's take a look at the list, and I'm doing my best to make sure I don't forget any of these items because the list has gotten quite extensive. So here's just a glance over the products that you would get with the Autodesk Industry Collection for AEC, Revit, and Revit Live. We're going to talk about that in a moment, our ability to bring the Revit product into a real-time you know, rendering visualization application. Of course, you get Max, and there's always a link between a workflow between Revit and Max. And if you're not familiar with that, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. So you get Manage, you get all of the Autodesk products. Like I mentioned, you get vehicle tracking, advanced steel, all kinds of tools on the infrastructure side. InfraWorks 360. That's what I meant. You can literally open up a Revit model and bring it into context within your city or town. The content that's available is phenomenal. So at any moment, we can always link to our, or jump out to our page if you ever have any concerns about what products are available in the collection, microsolresources.com, Autodesk Industry Collection. I might as well click it just to show you how beautiful the page is. Thank you, Tara and Miriam in marketing. So you can see all the different products, and it'll give you more information about how those products are offered. So let's take a little look at the new ones, the ones that are really exciting. Basically, as part of the collection, as of September 7th, all of these products come with it. So Dynamo Studio, Revit Live, Advanced Steel, some cool fabrication tools, finite analysis and robot structure, as well as some bridge design tools. So I'm going to dig into some of these cool ones. Obviously, Dynamo Studio is one of the pretty cool ones. I have a video. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but let's take a look right now. You know what? It's only a 2-minute video. So let's fire this up, and you guys could watch along. I'm not sure if you're going to hear it, but it's got cute little funky hip music. So if you're not familiar with Dynamo, basically it's an opportunity to interoperably modify data between Revit and this programming language. So here's a good example. It's more like scripting than programming. The program is scripting, scripting is programming. So you can create geometry that wouldn't be created in Revit alone. And you can manage the data that is built in Revit and enhance upon it and quantify it and manipulate it in Dynamo. So you can have Dynamo and Revit working at the same time. As you could see in this image, Dynamo is open, Revit is open. You hit run in the little corner, and it calculates and processes the information that you've asked it to process. You're also going to get an enormous amount of data that you can work with and export out of Dynamo, or manipulate and watch the model update. Pretty exciting stuff. So, Dynamo Studio, pretty exciting information. Iterate, right? Find more design options faster. Get the data related to that design option. And the image you see over here, you know, basic overall size, volumes, surface areas. Anything that you can add can be calculated and computed. You can import and connect data. So whether it's Excel or comma delimited or information from, you know, other outside sources. You can solve, right? Find complex information and organize it graphically or tabular form. And script. So basically what you're doing all the time when you're using Dynamo is you're importing information from Revit or outside sources. You're modifying it, making manipulations, pushing it back in. I wouldn't say no programming experience is required, okay, but it's beneficial. So if you're familiar with Python, it'll be a little bit easier to understand what form and formula you're applying to your geometry. But basically you start manipulating, importing data, and the code blocks and the information automatically fills itself out, kind of like a cheat sheet. Now, in addition to something as cool as Revit, as Dynamo, and its interaction with Revit, we have Revit Live, immersive architectural visualization, meaning that I'm going to be able to link my model to Revit, from Revit to immersive AR or virtual reality, right? So basically, take your model, push it to the cloud, make those manipulations, right? There's a cloud service that you're associated with Revit Live, and process that Revit project data and push it into the Revit Live editor where you manipulate the environment. Here's an example of what it's looking like when you're in the Revit Live editor. Okay, so you're easy be able to use these navigation tools and manipulation tools to control lighting, control objects, control material. Very cool and easy and simple to use, as long as you have the hardware. And we could talk about that if you have any questions. And virtual reality, obviously with a click of the button, the model that you edited in Revit Live is now able to be viewed by anybody in the Revit Live viewer. Pretty cool stuff. And just for the fun of it, we're going to look at another one. So some clients aren't okay with, you know, flat renderings or, you know, printed out images of the design. But in this scenario, using the editor, you're creating different scenarios, creating different materials, modifying lighting, and your model is updating and exploring those options. It's even a full moon out there. So basically, you'll get you know, the ability for your clients to sign off on the design intent because you're really showing them, you're walking through. Okay, so we're uploading, processing, preparing, downloading that model via the Go Live feature set. Phenomenal set of tools. Everybody's into VR now, so you're really going to be able to illustrate your project a little easier. What's this guy doing under the stairs? And if you have you know, a couple of those great virtual reality headsets, you're really going to be able to bring your clients in a lot easier. Revit Live is pretty phenomenal. You're going to have to check it out. And of course, you're also going to get access to Format and to Insight and to the rendering in A360 or Autodesk rendering, as well as a whole bunch of other cloud benefits. Let's take a look at some of them. So here's Format 360. And if you're not familiar with it, you're going to be able to literally model in an easy, you know, push-pull kind of format on your tablet, on the web, or actually in a Windows application now. And you're going to be able to integrate that information into your, you know, your other workflows. So meaning that I'm going to be able to bring this into to Revit and go back and forth to do, obviously, real-time collaboration, showing people your project, making modifications, doing solar analysis, you know, conceptual design tools. It's really, you know, kind of easy to push and pull on your tablet and then bring it into Revit and, you know, extend it even further. You have full access to all of the materials. So right in Format, I'm applying materials that you'll see in Revit, that you'll see in 3D Studio Max, for instance. So this stuff is interoperable. You build it in Format, and you could still share it amongst all of the other products in the collection. All right, so you know it even knows where it is, and that's more directed towards you know, placing a project in the correct part of the world, so you get to see context as well. Autodesk has been doing quite a bit of that. So location data and you know, geolocation is becoming more and more important and more accessible within the building information modeling products. Now let's take a look at how we can segue the Format tools and the Format design process into analysis. So Insight 3D. So if you haven't checked out Insight 3D, it's the big brother of Ecotech or you know, the other familiar energy analysis tools that Autodesk has been working with over the years. It went from Green Building to Ecotech, now it's Insight. So everything that you've done in those other applications are improved upon here in Insight 360. So you're going to be able to obviously visualize with a whole bunch of different factors, analyze both Revit and Format, and produce data that can be exported out and shared within the team. And obviously, this is a, you know, a 360, so it's a cloud-related service. So you're going to be able to use your, you know, the unlimited computing power of the cloud to process this energy analysis data and reports. It's amazing. You know, I don't know about representing millions of potential outcomes. There's a certain point where too much data is not easily digestible, but you'll be able to create a number of you know, outcomes. If I was to do this, or if I was to change the lighting, or if I changed the amount of glass, or add shading, or you know, shading devices, or even just simply rotate the building, what would happen? And you get a very intuitive, like Nest-looking a report that shows, how your design changes affected the energy analysis and the energy performance. Obviously, I think everybody's already familiar with A360 rendering. Now it's called Autodesk rendering, right? Meaning that it's a little bit broader. It's available for a lot more products, AutoCAD, Revit, Navisworks, Max, right? We're going to be able to go directly to the cloud rendering service and render those views and scenes. Now, if you haven't tried it already, you have to try it. It's phenomenal. So you have 100 credits, I think, automatically every time your product renews subscription, and then you could always buy more credits at $1 a credit. The interesting thing about it is you can do batch processing. All right, so not too many people are going to have as many credits as I have. Sorry about that. I don't mean to make anybody jealous of my millions of credits. But anyway, you're going to be able to do batch cloud rendering, which is pretty cool. So you select the views that you want, and you control your quality. One of the interesting things is it's not just about creating a rendering, but you can also visualize how the lighting and how the illuminance situations would show information to your client about the product, about the design. One of the interesting things that I read about recently was when you're going to send the rendering, you have to pick a quality and type of output. All your test renderings are free. So you can do a lot of test renderings to get an idea of whether the lighting and the materials are correct. And then basically, when you're ready and you've already visualized maybe regions of your rendering, you can go and actually process it for download. Anyway, actually, I have a link right here. It'll bring me to the Autodesk rendering page. And here we are. So now we're in Autodesk rendering, right? It's a new interface. And if you haven't been playing around with it, you'll see that you could switch between interfaces. I like the new Autodesk rendering interface. It gives you access to, a more organized view of your renderings. So here's some great examples of, images done online. So you really have to you really have to check it out. It's pretty phenomenal. So play with different iterations, play with different colors, play with different materials. It's really kind of easy to do. So back to the presentation. Of course, you have structural analysis. So within Revit, you could take your structural model. Right in Revit, you're applying structural loads, area loads, line loads, wind loads, static loads, dynamic loads. Those are the basic load criteria that one would be interested in. When you're ready to do finite analysis, then you would go out to robot structure. But right within Revit, you can use, again, the unlimited computing power of the cloud to to process your design and take a look at how it would drop down or load down. Anyway, those reports are exportable and it's really easy to use. There's a lot of data opportunities for entry-level structural calculations or structural analysis. When you're ready to go further than that, then you can export it out and go to robot structure. So you're also going to be able to bring those cloud-created analyses and have them visually displayed right there in Revit. It's pretty amazing how easy it is if you understand your structure and understand where the loads are and what kind of scale I'm interested in analyzing. Now, since we talked about so many things in the cloud, so many tools and connections, I have to bring up BIM 360 Team. That's got nothing to do with the Autodesk Industry Collection, but it's a phenomenal resource. As Ro mentioned, they're expanding it constantly, right? They're bringing all of this data to a consistent interface called BIM 360 Team. So not only does it, obviously accessible anywhere, meaning that I'm going to be able to bring my project data and have it accessible when I'm on the road, when my clients are on the road, when my clients are using, on site. They have tablets and they have iPads. You're going to be able to see your data everywhere. So let's take a real quick look at what BIM 360 Team looks like. And as we've already mentioned, we've done some great presentations. So it's probably a good idea to take a look at some of those, pre-recorded presentations. at one point, if you're interested in seeing a presentation for your own, we have a fantastic Autodesk specialist who really is available at the drop of a hat. So here I am looking at the BIM 360 team site for Microsol Resources. This is a support site. So this is an example of things that I might do for my colleagues or my clients. So for instance, Marvel Architects sent me a project that they were having some issues with, or whether it was experienced users or non-experienced users contributing to this project, and they're ready to migrate over to the next level. They'll go ahead and send me a model. We'll share it via BIM 360 team. I'll have access to the file, and I can download the file. So here's a sample example. I'll upload wiki articles where people can, you know, my clients can refer to the available, you know, suggested best practices, and we could take a look at the project right there in BIM 360 team. There's a built-in viewer for hundreds of file formats. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but yes, hundreds of file formats are available for viewing just because it's been loaded to the BIM 360 team site. So I'll be able to section the model, I'll be able to jump to the model, orbit, pan, walk through, do cameras or jump to cameras that we already have, right? Or change the way the camera looks, do some markups, do some notes, right? Turn things on or off, kind of do an exploded model. This is pretty wild. If you're interested in destructing or deconstructing your project, it's a pretty interesting way to look at it. And at any point, we could do sections and things like that. So BIM 360 team is an incredible resource. Not only is it great for viewing, you know, Revit models, but it's also great for viewing the rest of your documentation, whether it be, you know, Word documents, PDFs. Actually, the PDF thing is pretty funny. So here I am looking at an RVT, and of course it comes into a 3D view at first, but I can at any point go to my sheets. And here's my sheets. So I don't need to generate all these PDFs from my RVT. Just the fact of uploading an RVT to BIM 360 team creates a set of views, set of PDFs from the sheets, which is pretty phenomenal because I don't have to worry about updating those PDFs every time I update the model. It's updated the sheets as well. Okay, back to the product. I can get, you know, getting really excited talking about these tools. I have to focus on presenting the rest of the industry collections. Here's the Autodesk Media and Entertainment Collection. So for the professionals, you know, the visualization experts, you'll have all the tools that you need to create, you know, visualizations of your projects, of your designs. You get Maya and 3D Studio Max. So some offices, you have Maya experts, and some offices have Mac experts. So it doesn't matter. You get the entertainment collection, the media and entertainment collection, and you'll have it all. In addition, you have Motion Builder, Mudbox, Recap Pro. If you haven't seen Mudbox, it's pretty amazing to be able to do, you know, character sculpting and organic modeling. In addition to Motion Builder and Mudbox and Recap for photogrammetry and point cloud, you also get to generate character generation. So you can incorporate characters right into your scene, whether they be just for circulation or for emergency evacuation. Excuse me for my little slip there. So Photo to 3D kind of works with Recap Pro. If you're not familiar with photogrammetry, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. It's a new way of capturing data just with photographs and converting that into a printable or navigatable 3D model. Of course, we already talked about rendering. And in addition, you now have Sketchbook Pro for Enterprise, or Sketchbook for Enterprise. And in addition, if you've read elsewhere that these collections come with 25 gigs, that is incorrect. It is 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. Pretty amazing, pretty wild. What happened to my sketchbook? Oh, it's very cool. Just go out to you know, Autodesk.com, search for Sketchbook, and you'll be amazed. It's such a great tool to be able to sketch and draw. In addition, here's a quick link to look at all of the different products that are available in the Media and Entertainment Collection. So like I said, Maya and Max, and Motion Builder for animating vehicles, let's say, right? Motion capture and creating, beautiful presentations in addition to animation. So here's Sketchbook. Let's take a real quick look at Sketchbook. We're talking about a product that gives you the opportunity of sketching on your, laptop with a tablet, or on your iPad or any other tablet device. Even has the pressure sensitivity. So it's a fantastic tool. It's great for architecture. It's great for product design. It's great for just whether it be anything that you want to draw, you're going to have access to. It's a phenomenal set of tools that have now been incorporated into the collection. How great is that, to be able to bring a Revit view right into Sketchbook and enhance it with some freehand artistic work. So last but not least, the Autodesk Product Design Collection. This is something that I've been interested in a lot lately, being that I'm heading up the 3D printing department. We're getting a lot of manufacturers and product designers who want to bring their designs to life. This product design collection includes Inventor as well as AutoCAD and a whole slew of other products. But the idea of bringing these products together and these applications together is simply for the benefit of being able to make sure that there is no break between one product to another. As your iterative design moves forward, you might need to bring it to other applications, and you don't want to lose data or lose functionality. So having all of these workflows all in one place is going to be able to bring you, even further. So you're getting Inventor, you're getting AutoCAD, you're getting Navisworks for visualization and coordination. You're getting 3D Studio Max, and a lot of our product design clients have found that there are so many file types that might make up a turbine, for instance. Having Vault Basic basically allows you to make sure that a file is checked out properly and not edited by multiple people all at once. So as individuals manipulate individual pieces of an overall assembly, Vault Basic is going to give you the check-in and check-out opportunities. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other tools, too many to list, but these are the most logical ones. So anytime you're working with your product design or whatever iteration you have, if you want to bring your design to life, export out an STL or similar file format, FBX, and I'll provide a quote for you to print it out. So just in summary, why are we moving to industry collections? More for your money, a better deal than having individual products to manage. It's continuously improving, right? That means that as a collection updates or individual product updates, all you have to do is go to your Autodesk desktop app, and you'll be able to see those products and manipulate, the installations, adding or removing products. There's more cloud services. So all of these products are going to consistently move, organizing the data in the cloud. It's pretty interesting that free named users can have access to, a product that's, has some cloud-enabled features. It's pretty wild because, when I assigned the cloud credits to an individual using the design and creation suites, that individual user took up all the cloud credits. So basically overall, more flexibility, more choice, more opportunities for different term lengths, whereas it wasn't as useful. Anyway, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, please give me a call.